Hello, everyone. Uh, so, probably a little bit of a sensitive topic, and this is take two, right? Not sure if the other one was feeding through correctly. I think maybe it was, but on my end, it wasn't. So, this is take two of what I had started earlier. Um, so, I got kind of to thinking about the show that I was on yesterday with Frank, and kind of the posts, you know, last day or so in regards to the whole cheap freight, boycotting, and all of that. And again, these are just kind of like my opinions on it. And I don't know if some of this is like short-term memory loss, but about every year and a half to 2 years, that bullwhip effect kind of takes place, right? I've said this in previous videos. There's always kind of an ebb and a flow in regards to the market, right? Right now, freight volumes are down, capacity is up. Now, if we even go back to 2018, right? Uh, when I was paying out between $6 and $16 a mile, right? Nobody had any complaints then, but there was more freight than there were trucks out on the road, supposedly, right? I don't know if that's uh, hey, I don't know who you are. You're showing up as Facebook user, but what up? Um, and I apologize a little bit in advance. I helped put out that fire the other day, and I'm still a little congested from it. So, uh, time to time, hopefully, I don't interrupt this too much. Um, this shit happens all the time to one truck authorities and companies with companies trucks. Yeah, yeah. Hey, Shaggy. Uh, thanks for tuning in. So, so yeah, I mean, I get it. The big box brokerages out there, a lot of everybody feels that, they're being unfair and emotions run high. At the end of the day, it's business, right? Um, and I can only speak for myself personally, right? Because I don't work for TQL. I don't have a day to day inside knowledge of everything that goes on and every single load that they, you know, tender out there. But it's business, right? Just like I said earlier, 2018, when I was paying 6 to 16, I think I even had a couple of loads that were paying $18 a mile. We ended up paying, and my shippers were furious, absolutely furious, right? Um, right, business and building relationships, exactly. And this is why I've stressed so many times throughout the course of my videos is to build relationships and stop working the spot market. Is there always going to be spot market freight? Yes. Is there always going to be, trucks that run it? Yes. And right now we don't have as much dedicated freight out there as we once had. I've even had some of them, some lanes get ripped away from me. Why? Because my customer went asset based, right? They decided to run the freight themselves. So things happen. We have to be prepared for it. Faith and being proactive and networking, absolutely. And again, this might ruffle some feathers. You guys might be PO'd at me. I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to tell anybody what to do. You want to put up billboards and boycott every brokerage in the country, go for it. Be my guest. At the end of the day, does it really affect me? No. I understand it. I get it. And I know that, there's some drivers out there, and I know a lot of you guys personally, right? You're friends on my, social media and stuff. I've talked to you. Excuse me. Um, and I get the whole, fuel's up, insurance is up, equipment costs are up, everything's up except rates, right? Um, I get it, but again, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like I said, in regards to, volume versus capacity. But like I said, flip side of that, when it's the other way around, everybody talks about make sure you're getting that money. Rates are up. Number of loads versus number of trucks. There's more loads here than there are trucks, so make sure you're getting paid. Well, now we're on the other side of that coin, right? It's not going to last forever. It won't, but it happens. Like I said, about every year and a half, 2 years, this is what happens. And I understand the frustration. I do. And we don't know what shippers, as a carrier, you don't always know what shippers are paying what, right? I can tell you, and I'm going to show you an example. This is one of my biggest shippers, and I've actually stopped moving freight for them, and you'll see why here in a minute. Because number one, there's no money in it for me as a broker. There's no money in it for you, and I'm not going to contribute to the problem, right? And now, obviously, my agreement with this particular shipper, I cannot disclose their information, but so I had to kind of crop it. I just threw it up on Paint. I did one of these examples, I think last week or week before. But here's an example. Oh, and why is that not showing up? Oh, you guys can't see that. Why? All right. I have to do this. Bear with me one moment. Share. And it's still not showing up. Why is that? Maybe one of you guys have better knowledge of this than I do. Bear with me just here. I will get it fixed. Just have to do that. Yes. Okay. Here it is. Okay. You see the number of miles, the weight, commodity, everything. I'm giving you guys everything except for that customer's information. But look at this, 912 miles, fairly heavy load, $1,500. What does that come out to? I didn't actually break it down per mile ahead of time. 912, because I can't math today. $1.64. The broker's going to try to make money off of that. You'll end up at what? $1.30, $1.25, $1, depending on the broker, right? And I'm not the only, but this particular company, I will tell you, they do $7 billion a year in revenue. Okay. Now, do I have shippers that still pay very well? Absolutely. And I've got regular trucks that are running it, right? But this is an example of the stuff that's being put out on the spot market that's being handed down from shippers to the brokers. Okay. Here's another one, 20,000 pounds. It's light. That's $1,100 for 643 miles. Wait a minute. Did I do that right? Oh, sorry, bear with me. 643. Yeah, $1.71. Okay. Well, let's do the one for 800. Divided by 455. $1.75. Not a single one of these loads is over $2 a mile. And if you notice on this shorter run here for, they need 150,000 in cargo. Right? Most of you guys out there probably have 100,000. I mean, unless you add it, you're probably not getting it, or the broker is going to ignore it and just give it to you anyway. But this is the kind of stuff that's being handed down from these big corporations and to the broker. And like I said, and that other one, which actually I don't know if that was the one I shared or not. It was like a $4,400 lane. I think it was almost $3 a mile was in that lane because it was going to a nowhere zone. There's nothing coming back out of there, and their rate to us, to the broker, was 3,000. So they're already $1,400 below market. You guys are wondering why this is happening. These big companies are doing this. Even some of the small shippers. Okay, every day I get requests for quotes, RFQs. If I'm even $100 over which they don't give me any kind of an indication, they don't give me a target rate, but I'll do a follow up, say, hey, how was my quote? Oh, you're a couple $100 too high, Tim. You're $100 too high, and I'm doing my part to try to be fair, right? And I think a lot of brokers are, especially the smaller ones. Some of them don't care, or they'll, um, that's kind of what's happening. You know, um, I understand that a lot of the big box brokerages, TQL, and all of those guys, right? They've got massive amounts of freight all over the place. They've got return loads, but they're not the best paying loads typically. But maybe you've got a favorite broker who's a little bit smaller or medium sized, but they don't have freight coming back out of where they're sending you. They're probably working on it, right? Especially if it's a semi-regular lane or something. But the sales are difficult right now, because there's a lot of shippers that they don't need anybody. I think I mentioned one of my last videos. I actually called a shipper. I started to get into my whole spiel, my whole salesman thing, and he said, "Let me stop you right there." He says, "I don't have a need for your trucks. I don't have a need for a broker. I've already got plenty of capacity, and they're all running pretty cheap." That was in the words of the decision maker, the shipper, right? I believe they were out of North Carolina. So I understand when, like I said, your emotions running high because you can't make your truck payment, trailer payment, fuel's due, you get a breakdown, all of the kinds of things that truckers have to deal with, right? I get it. I think that I'm behind you with the boycott. I am. Don't get me wrong. Do I think it'll do a ton of good? No. And here's why. 20,000 carriers boycott TQL isn't going to make really a whole big dent on them. There's too many carriers still filing for new authority, going out, getting a truck, getting a trailer, and who's got all the freight? So they're pulling TQL freight, all these other guys, JB, all of them. They're pulling all of that freight. So as long as somebody's pulling it, they won't stop. Like I said, you can put up billboards, you can hold your breath and roll around on the floor. Again, my opinions. Do you guys have any kind of feedback on this? I'd love to see it in the chat. Obviously, like I said, it's just simply my opinion, kind of what I see. It's just my point of view. Maybe I'm completely way off base, and you feel the need to correct me. Then so be it. Be more than happy to hear you. If anybody wants to jump on, let me know. I'll send you a link. You can come on with me right now. But y'all got real quiet. Shaggy was commenting there, and I'm assuming that was him, unless it's somebody else there. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to regulate everything and say a minimum $3 a mile, we run into another instance like we did in 2018, where you know brokers were paying 6, 8, 12, 14, $18 a mile. That's gone too, right? So you have to decide on what you want. We know that bullwhip effect hits about every year and a half, 2 years. So we need to prepare for it. Brokers need to prepare for it. Carriers need to prepare for it. Dispatchers need to prepare for it, right? Don't get me started on dispatchers during this episode. I'll talk to you about just about anything else but dispatchers right now. you know, I mean, and myself personally, and we kind of touched on this, in yesterday's video. I hate posting loads to the load board. Kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. There's some really great carriers out there on the spot market, and there's some really bad ones. You know, um, and you can vet them till you're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, you know, I mean, hell, I've lost carriers or excuse me, customers, brand new customers. Even I had one shipper that I signed on. That same day, he gave me a load. He says, "Tim, here's your shot. You get this done for me." He said, and they paid pretty well at the time. This was a few years back. And he says, "Here's your shot to pull more of our freight." He said, "I'm gonna give you this one load." He goes, "If you screw it up, you're done. I, your fault, their fault, nobody's fault. Don't care." I said, "Yes, sir." So I right away found a truck. My phone blew up when I posted it, the load board, because I didn't have any regulars in the area at the time. And driver just never showed up. We had a limited window for that load to pick up, and he just never showed up. So guess what happened? I lost that customer, right? So, I mean, bad things happen to brokers too. And we don't all live in our mama's basement, contrary to popular belief. But anybody got anything they'd like to add? Just try to keep it clean. Tell me to go take a long walk off a short pier. But anywho, that was just sort of my thoughts on everything. Um, Again, just me. But I guess if nobody has anything to add, this will be a fairly short video. We've only been running about, what, 18, 19 minutes now. So if you guys aren't already a member of the group, great watching live here. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Again, guys, don't be afraid to throw out your opinion. I do it, right? If you disagree with me, let me hear about it. Maybe turn my point of view a little bit. The market will turn back around. It's just a matter of when, right? We can all speculate, look at the analytics and look at the data and this and that, but inevitably nobody has a crystal ball. You know, I think it at least gives us kind of a rough idea, you know. Um, but it'll happen. It's just a matter of, you know, there's just all a doom and gloom out there, with the surveys and losing a third of our capacity and this and that. And, and as unfortunate as it would be if that did happen, I think we would see the market rates go up. Absolutely. Even I think probably with current volumes the way they are. Um, I haven't been seeing a lot in the way of produce market really flaring up the way it has historically. Um, Maybe it's just little behind, a little slow this year. But, but yeah, if you guys have any opinions, like I said, contradict me on what I've talked about, by all means. Um, you know, but yeah, I just thought I would jump on there and show you guys directly what some of these shippers, some of these big shippers, right? $1 billion companies are sending to brokers. So, okay. I am a new to brokerage and I am having problem with getting shippers. I was a dispatcher for years. The market is crazy. Dispatch operations are getting scared. What's your take from you guys? Uh, Hang in there. Make if you're making calls, make as many as you possibly can. It's a numbers game. It is regardless of whatever the market is. It's a numbers game, right? Um, I know some people prefer to go knock doors, which I'm not against. If you maybe live, just for example, if you live somewhere near like an industrial park or something where there's a lot of manufacturing going on, you can go in there. Um, but ultimately, not everybody will agree with me, but it's kind of the old school rule of thumb, and I stand behind it. You need to be making at least 100 phone calls a day. Truly, make sure that you're focusing in on a niche, right? Whatever it may be. Um, if you're having problems uh, figuring out a niche, or you want to discuss this a little bit further, email me, freightmasterresources@gmail.com. I'll type it in here for anybody that wants to. So, oh, I got my caps lock on. Sorry about that. But yeah, if you have any problems with that, trying to decide what your niche is, anything like that, you need one-on-one consultation. I'll be more than happy to help you out. I do check that email pretty regularly. So, um, but yeah, I mean, right now, like I said, with volumes being down, capacity more or less up, it, it's tough right now making sales. You've got to be unique. You've got to be following up. And even if they tell you no today, their needs might change a week from now, a month from now, 2 months, 3 months from now. Keep them on your call list, right? When you've got your list of prospects that you want to call and they tell you no, whatever time frame that you're looking at, make sure you're following up on them. Date it and go back to that and recycle that list, right? Especially if it's someone in your niche. Um, Agree with you on one point. The shippers want to run their own freight in house. They all seem to answer that it's all done in house. Do you think it's the market causing this or just cost cutting? Well, I don't know that shippers are keeping their freight in house, but they're not dumb either, right? They know that volumes are down. They know what the market is. Um, so they're taking advantage of it just like a carrier would if the market was up, right? Well, I couldn't possibly run that for less than $8 a mile. Really? And they'll turn it down. Um, the problem with it now is that carriers can't with the market the way it is. It's not. It's stagnant essentially. They don't have a choice. It's either sit home or run it cheap, right? Because that's all that's left out there. There's just not enough freight, and shippers know this. Um, Again, I don't know if they're keeping it in house. Maybe what you're referring to is stuff is customer routed, which means they have their own brokers or direct carriers that they work with. I know some shippers do keep it in house, but not all of them. A lot of them just don't have the workforce to vet carriers and everything to handle that. And that's why they rely on brokers. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily the market. I think it's just they realize what it is and they don't have an overly large need for anybody right now. They've probably got a couple of brokers that they're already working with, and they're getting their stuff moved for $1.35 a mile, and they're happy, right? So it's really no need to add you to their, fill out another credit application for you and everything that they do to get you set up. So just be diligent. Just be diligent. Keep at it. Um, it's about all I can tell you. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm moving freight. I'm still cold calling every day, every single day. I'm doing follow ups. I will tell you though, one of my biggest pet peeves is uh, breakdown in communication, and it's it's not. I'm not referring to uh, my carriers. My carriers are actually right now they're awesome at communicating with me. Some of them, a lot of it has to do with uh, some of my customers, prospects, um, and uh, even in house. Some of the people within our own company. Um, it's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. I'm kind of a go 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 all day long kind of a guy, I guess, and I mean I don't expect everybody to reply back in 10 seconds or less, but when hours go by, yeah, I get a little miffed, you know, especially when I've got peers waiting for rate confirmations and the customer's going, hold on. I know what they're doing. They're sitting back waiting to see if somebody else turns in another bid. If it's a spot market load, right? If somebody turns in a lower rate and they're pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, and they can afford to, right? They can afford to wait. Meanwhile, I've got a truck, maybe a carrier that I use on a fairly regular basis, and they don't care. They will care when the market flips. They'll be freaking out. It won't be carriers freaking out anymore. It'll be shippers. Depending upon, I guess, how big of an overturn in the market it ends up turning out to be. If it's like 2018 or something, where rates got way high, then yeah, they'll be crying, they'll be begging. But yeah, shoot me an email. Like I said, we can kind of go over some stuff. I've helped out some other viewers uh, get their first customer. We do some live cold calling, stuff like that together. And then so um, get them started. We get you going too. But anybody else? If not, we've been running about a half an hour now. Like I said, just kind of a topic that was sort of weighing on my mind. Uh, you know, if you guys don't feel like expressing your opinions, you're on the live chat or something, like I said, by all means. And I'm pretty thick skinned. If you want to call me, I don't know, whatever, because of it, I don't care. Yep, no problem. So, with that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and close that down. I'll check with Devin, see if he's going to be available to jump on for the Friday show. Um, Otherwise, I guess we may not see you till Monday, right? 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Mondays. Again, guys, if you are needing, let me do this real quick here. if you guys are needing any resources, accessorial agreements, we've got free downloads there, all that kind of stuff. And I, I, I guess, I mean, I am a salesman, but it's part of my job, but it's just some stuff, out there for you guys. If you decide, if you're not happy with your factoring company, there's one we recommend. They don't treat you like a number. Easy Propel, they use AI. It cuts down on a lot of your data entry, kind of simplifies your life a little bit, especially if you're working with a dispatcher and you're not real happy with them, or not happy with giving up that percentage or that flat fee, whatever they're charging. Easy Propel is a great way of kind of helping you eliminate that. Um, yeah, I'm not an overly big fan of dispatchers. I know some of them are really good at what they do. My humble opinion, most are not. Um, but that or freightbrokerresources.com if you guys are a broker and looking for stuff there. Again, check it out. If you need anything. So I guess with that, I will go ahead and end this. As always, be kind to one another, help each other out, network in the group, guys. Okay, network, help each other grow and build. All right, talk to you next time. Bye bye.